When we bought it, I kind of put our growth into these phases. And phase one was returning the brand to the racket space, because the people in this space are the ones that remember the brand, and they're all a little older today, but the nostalgia for Boast is so high. One of the assets we saw was the IP. You know, to buy this historic, cool brand with a great logo that was just dormant on the sidelines seemed like a perfect opportunity.
Welcome to Padel Smash TV. We are so excited to have Boast, one of the more, what would you say, traditional brands in the U.S. They've been prestigious and classic brands in the U.S. We have Matt with us. You are the owner, CEO?
Yep, I'm the owner and CEO of Boast.
Great. So welcome to the channel. Why don't you tell us a little bit about you and how did you get involved with Boast?
Well, we bought Boast in June of 24. I've been in the footwear business my entire career, and I would always watch some of my customers and brands that were doing things well or doing things not so well, and I always had a dream of owning and operating a brand. And when Boast came up for sale, I've always been a fan of Boast. I played tennis growing up, so it seemed like a perfect fit to try to acquire this heritage classic American brand.
Okay, so let's talk about Boast, because I do remember Boast. I'm originally from Connecticut. I know it was a Connecticut company originally, and it really took off. I think in the 80s, in the 80s, as I remember. And I used to wear it. I used to play tennis. I loved the brand. It was really edgy and cool. And then it kind of dropped off. I didn't see it that much. Talk to us about the beginnings and then where it went and how it's kind of reinventing itself, I guess, would be a good way of saying it.
Yeah, so it was founded in 73 in Greenwich as an answer to the European brands like Fila or Les or Tacchini or some of those. And this guy wanted to have an answer to that and create this cool American brand. So it did kind of exploded in the 80s, early 90s, and you know, a lot of college teams were wearing it, some pros were wearing it. It became this counterculture brand. And then, you know, what's happened sometimes, it sells and then a different ownership takes the company in a different direction, and it just kind of disappeared into the 90s and early 2000s.
Now, why do you think it did that? What was the wrong turn there, do you believe?
I personally believe that it was trying to focus, the brand was starting to look more at the lifestyle space versus the traditional racket space that, you know, had this momentum around it. So
But I kind of look at it as a lifestyle, you know, that
I think it's a racket lifestyle. I believe it's a racket lifestyle brand. What some other people tried to do early on was really make it like a lifestyle brand, and they took their eye off of the core consumer base, which was that racket consumer.
Gotcha.
You know, it became something that it wasn't. So like when we bought it, I kind of put our growth into these phases, and phase one was returning the brand to the racket space, because the people in this space are the ones that remember the brand, and they're all, you know, a little older today, but the nostalgia for Boast is so high, and one of the assets we saw was the IP. You know, to buy this, you know, historic, cool brand with a great logo that was just dormant on the sidelines seemed like a perfect opportunity.
It was a good buy.
After
You know,
we believe it's a good buy.
it has a legacy and it has a lot of potential to come back. I mean, it's something that a lot of people my age, and same thing with Jules, remembers, you know. And now
Yeah.
Racket Sports with other record like Pickle and Paddle, and really kind of growing. I think I hope, and I'm looking forward to Boast really getting into that market.
So Matt,
Yeah.
when you took over the company, I'm sure you took over, inventory and SOPs and all that. How did you reinvented all that or reshuffle all those things with a new mentality, new the textile has changed completely from where back in the 80s it was 100% cotton and all that. How was that process?
The company was small when we bought it. So the inventory we inherited wasn't terrible inventory, I'd say. There we had very little performance. So a lot of the stuff that we had, to your point, was the traditional PK cotton shirts or the Pima cotton shirts from Peru, um, which are great and still at the core of our business. That's that tennis lifestyle piece. So, like our number one selling shirt is the white PK polo with a little red and blue tipping on the collar, which has probably been a Boast original seller since the early 70s. So some of that was really good, and some of the shorts were very good. So we leaned into some of the classic styles that we inherited. We tweaked the fit a little bit, but to your point, what we've created in the last 18, 19 months is a more robust performance uh, program. So more for on-court polos and tees, for on-court, more shorts with liners in them. Totally updated that, but we're still looking at our heritage. So we're not trying to, you know, we're not trying to be a Nike or an Adidas, or we're still trying to be Boast, um, but with updated modern materials.
So you're going back to where originally started, focused on racket sports with some lifestyle there, right?
I think that's accurate. So our performance stuff, we hope and we believe and we're seeing that it's still driving consumer interest to our site. So let's say we're on court relevant, but when they're shopping for their on court stuff, they're also buying some of our core heritage stuff, which is that PK shirt
All right.
or Pima cotton t-shirts. And we're trying to keep the brand. The three words I use are elevated, cool, and irreverent. And this elevated piece, in my opinion, is something that I think Racket apparel has been missing. Everybody's been kind of chasing price point, or how low can you go, and they're trying to buy the consumer. We want the consumer to really love what they're wearing and love what we're representing, and we want to deliver a better product. And we're trying to do it and keeping our prices in line with the consumer demand. But we're not trying to cut corners. We're trying to do things in a really positive, upbeat, and elevated way.
Would you say that Boast is trying to emulate, the Lacoste style, where they're trying to keep the same old, 80s and 90s Lacoste type of thing? Because sometimes I see that they're very, similar things to it.
Yeah, I think that's a good reference. Of when we look for inspiration, I think Lacoste is a great one. I think old school Fred Perry is an interesting comparison. But then if you look at, some of the elevated materials, you have to look at, Aloe and Lulu and some of those guys that are doing some great stuff on the performance side. It's just our aesthetic is different than their aesthetic. And, but yeah, if we were to look at Lacoste or Fred Perry as, big picture inspiration, I think that's
And
probably
adding those new materials, the polyesters, the elastin, the lyocell, are you bringing all those together, the softness of the quality of the Lululemons and all that? How do you bring in that into the brand?
Yeah, I mean, we still want the consumer to want to wear it because it feels good. I mean, I I I look at everything that we do as I'm a consumer as well. And if I don't want to wear it myself, and my team doesn't want to wear it, then it's not the right thing for us. So you can have a great performance material, but if it feels like crispy, or it doesn't sit well on the way it's, if you can't swing, you can't move your shoulder right, or So we're very, very focused on comfort and the hand touch of our materials.
So now I looked at the catalog online, and I saw that you wanted to keep, traditional classic items of Boast. How many new items have you introduced or are going to introduce? I know that Boast has this image, and it wants to go back and keep it because I can tell going to the site. But are you going to introduce any new items or materials?
Yeah, so our women's collection is all brand new. So we have an A-line skirt and a flounce and a one piece. We're doing a razorback that we're going to be launching, and we're launching actually a Pima cotton little club polo dress, which is going to be really cute. So on the women's side, everything is new, and from a SKU count, I don't know, it's probably 10 to 15 new pieces. On the men's side, as I said, we've launched these performance tees. We have a new tee coming. We have a brand new tipped polo performance polo that looks like our PK cotton, but in a performance version. So that's new. The shorts are new with the liner in them. We just launched a new tracksuit, which is cool. We're working on a 1973 collection
Oh,
to kind of lean into our heritage a bit, and have a bit of a retro style.
And Matt, are you trying to, the Aloes on the Lululemons and Bose was mainly tennis back in the day, and are you trying to bring any other, fitness or yoga style of wear to the brand, or you want to just stay focused on the racket world?
I truly believe that a lot of these fabrics and fabrications are crossover from sport to sport anyway. Like our leggings for women can be used for any other fitness application. All of our polos and all of that. I mean, we're starting to look at golf a little bit. Like this quarter zip I wear when I play golf every day, and it's an amazing, comfortable piece. We make in Korea actually. And so, yeah, I mean, I think if you're building a good product, you're building a good product, and it has multi-function. So, you know, we're not specifically designing just for Racket. We're focused our marketing efforts on Racket. We hope the golf consumer, we hope other fitness consumers find our brand and find it comfortable, and that they want to explore in it too. As I said earlier, just the Racket communities are the people that remember the brand. So for us, we felt like it was a natural progression to chase that market before we chased any others.
And how do you adapting? Back in the day was the king was tennis. Now you have all these I would say queens. You have the king is still tennis, but now you have the pickleball, the paddle. How do you bring in all those together? Because I think it's making some big noise in the racket world. How do you bring in those together, or the core mission of the brand?
And do you see like a special collection for paddle?
Yeah, we as a company, we're very much focused on paddle. If you look at some of our images on our website or some previous ads to what we've been doing, we were focused on paddle, and we've been exploring that community. I feel like paddle's a much more natural progression for us. It's elevated. There's a community based around it. It smells like a tennis ball.
Yeah.
So
Bounce is almost like one.
yeah. So for us, it's like we just feel that it's a progression of our brand, and it just feels like the earlier days of tennis when there is this community building around it. I mean, if you look at these paddle clubs, I mean, they look like these modern hotel lobbies, and you want to hang out there and you want to be there, and it's competitive, but incredibly social, right? Like
Yeah.
people hang out around these paddle clubs.
Yeah.
It's
So
like it's like the old school tennis clubs back in the day. You know.
correct. I mean,
So,
we really believe it, it it's not us chasing something new. It feels like it's just part of what where we've always been.
so it fits. You're coming like tennis, paddle, possibly golf.
Yeah, I think, if I had to pick three primary, sectors, I think those would be the three. Um, you know, there's always squash and, other heritage racket sports. I'm a big believer that this whole ping pong market is not tapped properly. How many people play ping pong? You don't even talk about it, but it's
Yeah.
a racket sport.
So what is your strategy to move into the paddle world? I mean, as a brand.
Well, paddle, in my opinion, it's kind of where sport meets lifestyle. Um, so we've been, we're starting to create like a capsule program, which we're going to launch in spring. We're going to have some stuff at RacquetX, where we designed some new T-shirts with our new Padel by Boast logo.
Oh, nice. We'll love to see that. We're
Yeah,
looking
we'll have
forward to it.
that. You can see it on Friday at RacquetX. We see that the colors that our people are wearing at paddle clubs are maybe a little bit different than traditional tennis. We see a lot more black apparel, so we're gonna have more black shorts, more black tees. But again, with this paddle specific logo, and we're gonna, we're testing. But we want to build into it. What one of the challenges is that a lot of the paddle clubs aren't really set up properly yet for retail. So a lot of the clubs have a wall of stuff, um, but potentially, and not all clubs, but the clubs, I've seen some, they have like a wall of stuff, and then the guy or girl that's checking you in for your court is also supposed to understand what's on the wall. So it's a bit of a disconnect where for us, we see opportunity in that. So how do we work with these clubs to potentially set up an easier way for their consumers to shop with us? Or how do we help train their staff? Or how do we do more to help this community engage? Because there is a thirst for good stuff.
Yeah,
Of
I mean,
course.
And
we've seen that with the pro shops. They don't have somebody there really knowledgeable of the products, and the people in the front, like you said, welcoming the the players, they come and go. It may be 3 months there, 4 months, and so they're not properly trained to do that.
No, and going to your point, I think it's there's so much money to be made on the pro shop aspect of all these new clubs coming up. You know what I mean? It's just crazy that the club owners are not paying attention on that aspect of the apparel and on the branding of the club. So, but let me ask one thing, because one of the biggest gaps here, it's there no yet there is a really big apparel paddle brand on the market. You can get the bubble outs but they're more focused onto the tennis. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I love the idea about your paddle logo and all that, but back in the day, Bose was huge on logo wear. You buy the logo, the Bose shirt, and you guys will put the logo on it. Are you still doing the same thing, or how's that work?
Yeah, we do a lot of that. So we have an embroidery program where when our sales force works with specific clubs, we offer blanks for them. They share their artwork, and we quick turn logos on. We can do it on shorts, our polos and tees. So yeah, we do a lot of that, and um, for we're starting to figure out, which we've just kind of finalized this, to have a quicker turn T-shirt program that we can customize as well. A lot of when you're importing, uh, and with the MOQs required for some of these factories, it's hard to, do some small run customization. Our embroidery, we do all here in the US with the blanks we bring in from Peru or from Vietnam or wherever we import from, and all that's done here
And
in
is,
the US.
Doing that, what's the minimum? What's the MOQ with you
Yeah.
guys?
I mean, if a club wants 5, 10 shirts, we'll make 5 or 10 shirts with their logo embroidered. We could do it on the sleeve, we can do it on the chest. We haven't necessarily had, again, back to your point about the paddle club, the paddle clubs haven't engaged yet really with apparel brands, in my opinion, to do more of that.
correct. Yeah.
So again, that's an opportunity. A lot of the paddle clubs that we've seen, are just trying to figure it all out.
Yeah.
And, we've done some work with, it's called the Paddle Club in West Palm Beach. And, they've done a great job, and we put their logo on the sleeve of their shirt or on the chest. And it's really a great collab we've done with them. And, they did
Actually, I think we have a sample of that. We got those shirts from Flor,
Oh yeah.
Florencia in
Yeah.
LA.
When we
That quality is absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, I love that shirt. I love this shirt. This
Yeah.
Peruvian pique shirt is unbelievable.
Yeah.
The only thing I modified here was a V-neck. You can see because I hate.
we're actually, that's one of the other things that we're going to be launching is a Henley. I
Okay.
forgot.
Correct.
So,
Perfect.
No, I mean, it's I love. I mean, that's a huge missing part for all those club owners. They're leaving so much money on the table when it goes to apparel. I think doing minimal MOQs, it's a must for every club, because sometimes you don't know. I mean, sometimes, if you want to do it in China or whatever, they ask you for such a huge quantities that you don't even know if you're going to move. But now if you can get, 10 small, 10 mediums, and 10 large, and see how it moves, and for you guys to provide not only the quality but also the logo part, I think it's huge for any club owner or any club, paddle club.
yeah, and I also think that, from and it's our fault as well, right? Like a lot of our sales force has had long relationships with the tennis clubs.
Yeah.
So, they're calling on these tennis clubs, and maybe they don't have the relationships yet with the paddle clubs. So there's an opportunity for our sales guys to do better and to break into more places if they would start chasing the paddle clubs.
Yeah. And now you see a lot of tennis clubs adding paddle courts. So now you bring that blend together, which in the past couple of years has been accelerating at a pace that it's incredible. Now, every single day you hear a tennis club adding 2 or 3 paddle courts, all over the country. And that's a huge sign for the growth of the sport and also the brands.
Yeah, I mean, our club in the club I belong to is in Palm Beach, and we put in 1 paddle court 2 years ago, and it was so successful that we're adding a second one now. But it was actually so successful that most of the better players started going over to the West Palm Club because they were enjoying it so much they needed more competition. So they're not even using this court we built. They want to go to where there's more competition and more people that can have access to it.
Yeah.
The community.
Yeah.
The community of
Yeah.
paddle players. That we're
Yeah.
playing.
So what is the vision for 2026 for Boast?
I mean, in spring 26, we're launching, as I said, this paddle-focused collection. It has, breathable polos and these training shorts, and, basically made for movement. We're trying to, as I said, trying to figure out more and more how to engage with the paddle community. I'm looking forward to RacquetX for that purpose. I want to engage more and hopefully maybe even find somebody that can help us champion as a brand and become our brand ambassador for paddle.
That's right here. That's me, the original Connecticut guy right here. We got to talk.
Yeah, we can talk.
So
yeah,
I mean, you will get. So what are the expectations for, we reach so many people around the world, and especially here in the United States, and a lot of our viewers and listeners, they're going to be going to RacquetX. Why don't you tell us a little bit where you're going to be located and what are what the visitors will expect for Boast right there at the stand?
I don't have our booth number off the top of my head, but we are in the like main center hallway.
Okay.
You'll find all of our apparel there. You'll find everything we're working on. You'll find our VP of sales there. Excuse me. I'll be there on Friday. Yeah, I mean, we're just excited again to engage with this community and really find, whether it's a brand ambassador or whether it's some clubs to engage with, or one of the things that I've been doing over the last 18, 19 months since we've owned the brand is talk to everybody. I'm continually trying to learn of how to do things better and how to make our brand grow. And so if, anybody listening and they want to come talk and throw me some ideas of how they could engage with us and how their ideas for how Boast can fit into this growing community, I would love to hear it.
So for our paddle viewers, because we have a lot of people going to do this, how many pieces in your collection of paddle wear will you have there at RacquetX?
I would say probably 6 pieces that are focused on paddle.
That's it. That's gonna be it's sold out in the first day.
Are you going to be selling there or it's going to be just a showcasing?
I don't know if I think we are bringing some of the paddle tees to sell.
Okay.
Not a lot, but I think we'll have, I don't know, 30 per style, something just to have there. Last year we brought some stuff at RacquetX and we didn't really know if we were allowed to sell on site or not on site. We didn't know it was like a commerce kind of transaction. We just thought it was more of a trade show. But so this year we did bring a little bit more and, we can sell from there and we can also just take orders right from there.
And Matt, does Boast has accessories, wristbands, socks, caps, visors, and all that?
We have hats, wristbands, and headbands. Our socks are excellent. We are looking at doing more in terms of bags. We did a collab with a company called ADV on bags, where we took 100 pieces of their bags and, designed a little bit of our logo on them. Those sold out really quickly. They're great bags with different pockets for storage and cooling. And so we're meeting again at the show to discuss the next step with that. Yeah, I mean, we're looking at potentially doing footwear in the future.
Right.
So we're, I'm just trying to stay focused because it's so easy to chase everything and everybody has a million ideas. And I'm a kind of person that I love ideas and I love to move fast and I want to do everything, but I'm trying to have a little discipline and
yeah, you don't want 3 to 5,000 SKUs at one point.
So Matt, I know we were talking before we started the interview. Now you guys are sponsoring a tennis player. Are you planning to do something similar in paddle?
Yeah, we would love to find the right people to sponsor. Over the last year, we've looked at many, many different players, but there's a certain thing that we're looking for, and I can't really put it in words, but we know when we meet the person, if they're a fit for us, because we just don't want to pay to play. If we really want to engage with the player, and we really want to, get feedback from the player, and I don't like the way it sits here. I don't like this, or I love that, and do more of this. And we really want to engage differently. It's just not a transaction for us. It's more than that. And that's, why we have to find the right male or female or both to work with. We want them to have a passion for the brand too.
Exciting. Well, we're looking forward to your success. Please keep us on the loop. I mean, and we'll want to be also part of the journey of your growth, and we're here to communicate to the world. We love Boast, and it's we wish you all the best.
Yeah, Matt, you'll be there at RacquetX, and we'll see you there. And congratulations. Like he said, I love Boast. I wear it. And
I can get you some stuff. Tell me what you need.
excellent. Look at
I
that.
know
We
a
got the
guy. I know a
connection.
guy that can get you some stuff.
No, would you like to add anything else to the interview? Talk about any specifics?
No, I'm just, I really appreciate the time that you've allowed me to talk about Boast a little bit. And, at the end, uh, we've always been about celebrating sports and the sports culture. And, we really believe that paddle and tennis, are part of, this competition and camaraderie. And it's part of the sport and part of what Boast celebrates. So,
So Matt
um,
definitely will be at Friday, Saturday, and Sunday creating content at RacquetX. Definitely, we're gonna stop by Boast so you can show and we can record and film your quality products to our audience and our listeners. So
that'd be great. I'll be there Friday. I have to travel somewhere on Saturday, but so if I'd love to see you guys on Friday, that would be great.
Perfect.
If not, my team is there all weekend and you'll be in good hands. But again, I appreciate the time and I appreciate that you guys both love the brand.
Yeah,
I love it.
definitely.
It's a real passion for me to
yeah,
talk about it and to try to grow it.
beautiful.
Sounds good, Matt. Thank you.
Thank you so much,
All right,
Matt.
guys.
Have a great
Thank
day,
you.
and we'll see you Friday.